Welcome to General Biology. Today's video is going to answer the question, where does wood come from? A long time ago, a couple hundred years ago, we pretty much thought that wood came from dirt, which made sense. Plants are growing in dirt. Why not just pull the dirt up into the tree? And so some scientists did some studies, and basically what they did is they baked a bunch of soil bone dry so there's no water in it. And they got 200 pounds of soil, and they filled up a big barrel, and they added some moisture back to the soil, and then they planted a tree in it, and they covered it up so no more dirt could get inside the barrel. And they watered the tree for 5 years, did nothing else to it, just watered it. And after 5 years, they opened up the barrel, pulled the tree out, bare rooted it so all the dirt was off the roots, and they weighed the tree, and the tree weighed 169 pounds. Well, it started off as 5 pounds, so it gained almost 165 pounds. The soil lost 2 ounces. And there were other studies almost identical to this one with almost identical results. And so pretty much about 200 years ago, we proved that wood does not come from soil. About 100 years ago, a little less than 100 years ago, we started figuring out in the 1920s and 30s and 40s how to make molecules radioactive, how to make atoms radioactive. And so we did some experiments, and we made the oxygen and water radioactive in one of these experiments. And we called it heavy water because it's O18 instead of O16. And when we did this, we found that the plant was not radioactive, but the oxygen that was being released by the process of photosynthesis was radioactive. So this led us to the understanding that the oxygen from water actually becomes the oxygen that's given off by the plant. We then made the carbon dioxide oxygen radioactive instead of the oxygen in the water. And when we did this, the oxygen given off was no longer radioactive. The plant was radioactive. So that led us to believe that the oxygen from the carbon dioxide was actually becoming part of the sugar that was being made in this process. We then did the same thing with carbon. We made the carbon radioactive, and when we made the carbon radioactive, the wood became radioactive and the air did not. And so the carbon and the oxygen from carbon dioxide were both becoming part of the sugar, and the hydrogen from water was becoming part of the sugar, but the oxygen from water was becoming part of the air. Hydrogen is a very light molecule compared to carbon dioxide and oxygen. Carbon and oxygen. And because of this, most of the mass of a tree actually comes from air. So you could say more than 90% of wood comes directly from the air.